Streaming. All right, I think got the pipeline all set up. We'll see how that stream goes. Let me go to the live dashboard. All right. It's Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, Umamusume, Pretty Derby. What? Okay. Woo. So as many of you know, we complain a lot about the city of Boston here on Geek Nights. Because
complain about any city that's not New York.
Yeah, but when we complain about most cities,
or as big or bigger than New York.
When we complain about most cities,
we don't go to those places.
We complain that they're not as big as New York, and we can't get a bagel at like 5 a.m.
That's correct.
But
if I went even Tokyo, which is probably bigger than New York, I'd complain the train stopped running at night.
Yeah, well, the train stopped running almost
everywhere.
Everywhere.
The train would be on time the rest of the day, so I guess it evens out.
Yeah, but it'd be just as crowded as the 4-5.
More crowded, depending on when you go.
The 7 is getting to the point where I need someone to help push everybody into the car.
I got my bicycle.
Yeah, I also got the bicycle. I
couldn't use it today, though. It rained.
I couldn't use it because I had to end my day at a different office. And I didn't want to have to go
ride from one office to the other on a bicycle.
No, because I have to set up my shit if I want to park the bike at that other office. Every building, like, independent of my company, the buildings have their own management companies, and those are the people that actually have to follow that New York City law. So every building, I have to comply with, like, that building's bike policy. So I got to, like, register the bike and do all this bullshit. So I only did that for one building. But Boston we complain about for different reasons. The specific things we complain about with Boston that are within the city of Boston's control, because the third thing is that it's always too cold there, is that, one, the city of Boston has, in my personal opinion, the worst drivers of any city on Earth. Boston is to this day the only city I've ever been in where I've seen a person in a car drive backwards up a one-way street the wrong way more than once. I think I've seen that happen at the majority of PAXs I've been to in Boston.
I mean, you know, it's right in Boston. You have the problem of the roads were designed in ancient colonial times.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like the very bottom of Manhattan with the colonial roads before you go farther north where there's the grid made in smarter
But
times.
you also have this weird social contract where people in Boston just don't respect the idea of following basic rules.
Except that that's the whole city and not just one part of it.
Yeah. But even that, like, people, I don't understand. Nowhere else on Earth do people just suddenly start driving backwards long distances. Like, where does that happen? I didn't even have to do that in fucking Istanbul.
Confirmation bias.
Let's keep an eye out for the next time we see that happen. And I suspect we'll see it happen in Boston. But number 2 is Boston forces all the conventions there, the nerd conventions, to have ridiculous fake security. And it's gotten to the point, like, it's kind of why we stopped going to Anime Boston, because it's too much of a hassle to deal with. And if I had to stop going to a PAX East in Boston is the one I would drop first. I would rather go to San Antonio than the one in Boston. And there's an article about this because the city of Boston itself is having problems with the security. So the city both forces events to have this completely fake security that causes huge problems, especially for nerd conventions, and the security they have mandated is breaking their own rules. So there's this article in this, like, Universal Hub, which is like a local Boston thing. I think it's like Boston's Gothamist. Like, I don't really know the deal with it. But I see people in Boston retweet it a lot and no one else talks about it. But it actually has an article about this situation. And basically, during PAX East, there were some doors that were locked that according to some rules in Boston, cannot be locked when there are people in the convention center. But they were locked because people kept trying to walk in those doors instead of going through the metal detectors that were only in like 2 or 3 places. Now, they shouldn't have any metal detectors and all those doors should be open, but basically the city of Boston is now fighting with the city of Boston, and it's a fight between like whoever makes that bullshit security happen and the BPD licensing detectives, because apparently there's all these licensing rules around buildings having doors open or closed, and they got involved because a bunch of cops noticed that at PAX East there was a huge crowd of people trying to get out a door that was not only locked but duct taped shut.
I like how our country is so fucked up, and yet we're spending courts and judges and lawyers' time because someone didn't open a goddamn door, even though they definitely should have opened that door. But
Yep, that door should be open. That's the important part.
But the point is, look how small potatoes this is. This is such a small potato that, like a baby, you would make one French fry for the baby and they'd still be hungry. That's how small that potato is.
So I guess I hope the city of Boston loses and the metal detectors disappear at some point, even though I know
I
that
don't think
probably won't
that's going to
happen.
be the result.
What I really hope for is that PAX will someday just leave Boston and then I'll never have to go there for a nerd convention again. That's what I actually want.
Thing that is unrelated to nerdery almost entirely, but you know, it only happens every 4 years. But people in the U.S., at least, might not be aware because the United States did not qualify for the World Cup, which begins tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, the World Cup. Football.
People don't even know because we didn't qualify in this country and we don't care in this country. But it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Well, isn't it being hosted here this year? Or next time?
No.
I saw something about it, something being hosted in North America.
What?
Maybe it's the next one. There's some big news I saw in the terminal.
Isn't it Dubai
Yeah, 2026 UX Mexico Canada joint bid wins.
Oh.
FIFA hosting vote.
Oh, well, that's a news I didn't see.
Yeah, 2026.
That's a long time from now. That's
That's the
two
next
time.
one.
That's
Yeah,
two
two
times,
times
from
from
now.
So I guess they'll have to call it soccer for that one.
No,
Both Canada and the US call it soccer. Only Mexico would call it football.
it's FIFA. There are no S's in FIFA.
FIFA. SIFA. Okay. All right. Do. All right, into the real newses. So anyway, in the actual anime and animation news, very briefly, just because not everyone seems to be aware of it, there is an AnimeCon where we will probably go to it because it's in New York and we can literally
Isn't
take the
this
subway
meta
to
moment?
it.
What are you doing this in the news?
Because I'm not announcing that we're doing anything at it. I'm saying that if you want an AnimeCon, that's probably the PAX of AnimeCons based on the first one that happened. The second one is happening, and it does not overlap with PAX Unplugged. So you can actually go to it. It's November 16th, 17th, 18th in the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. So
If you live near enough to New York City, worth going. Otherwise, probably not.
Yep.
But still, probably worth going if you're close enough.
But something interesting I noticed because
There are cons that are bad where you shouldn't go, even if they're right next door.
Yeah, but the one trouble with having a NerdCon in New York City, like as much as I want PAX to leave Boston, I do not want them to go to New York City because a con in New York City is fucking awful unless the only attendees are people who live in New York City. Like, there aren't going to be hotel blocks for people in New York that are affordable. Or anywhere near the convention.
Yeah, this time of year, hotels are not the cheapest. If you want to have a convention in New York City, the best time is February, where hotel prices can go down from usuals of $500 to like $150 a night in places like downtown Manhattan and such. But no one wants to come here in fucking February because it's fucking cold and snowy and you'll get caught in a blizzard and your flight will get delayed and you won't get home on time.
Yeah.
And that's why it's $150 a night, as long as you're not staying in the touristy area where it's always $500 a night for a place with cockroaches.
Yep. So it's happening. We'll probably be there. But the thing I noticed is that the panels, because I submitted some panels, and I haven't submitted anime panels anywhere in a while. Like I had to think about what anime panel would we even do. But the panel slots are an hour long, and there's no gaps. So the actual panel slots are actually 45 minutes long, like by default. So all the panels at this con are actually like really short format,
And there's going to be a lot of panels.
Yeah, which changes up my whole methodology.
It's not like a short convention. It's just when you make the panel slots 45 minutes with 15-minute breaks instead of 1 hour of 15-minute breaks. First of all, the schedule looks real nice.
Yep.
But second of all, you can cram in a lot of panels, 1 per hour.
I wonder, like, I don't know why they did this. I didn't even know this was a thing until like 3 days ago. But the 45-minute panel slot is interesting because anime cons in particular, though gaming cons largely have this problem now too, most of the panels are some industry person or panel is going to talk for 5 minutes and go straight to Q&A and then give away some swag. So you really lose nothing by making the panel slots shorter. Like, nothing is lost by having them shorter. The same amount of content will be provided. But for us, it's interesting because, like, everything we've ever done at a con, we use the entire hour. So I'd actually have to think of it. Like, we might change the kinds of topics we talk about. We'll see. But anyway, this AnimeCon's happening. And in some other news, Bee and Puppycat is getting its 2nd season.
That's my news.
I just said some other news. You're welcome to talk about it.
So the thing is, right, is the cartoon Hangover, whatever, Frederator. I'm not even sure what the difference is. They seem to be one and the same as far as I can tell. But they make a lot of cool cartoons that we like a Bravest Warriors and the Bee and Puppycat and a bunch of other stuff that no one knows. But at first, they would post these things on YouTube, and then I saw some of them because I kickstarted, and they would email me links to watch them on other sites. And then eventually, like, they were posting, like, their YouTube channel, which I'm still subscribed to, it wouldn't actually be posting full episodes, and they'd be like links to some other site where you can watch them. And it was very confusing. There was no easy and straightforward way to just watch all the new episodes of the shows we like as they come out in full. And because of that, I sort of fell off their bus because they made it too hard to stay on that bus. So another thing that really hurt them was that they didn't put out content consistently, which is understandable because they were making animated TV, quality episodes as good as, like, an episode of Adventure Time, yet they were just some little indie place that didn't have a TV network or anything. They're just going straight to YouTube.
Yep. Now, if they were just on YouTube, that's fine. Like, I'm already used to these sort of ad hoc schedules.
Right. So it's understandable that they would not be putting out content super regularly, but they were putting it out super irregularly. Like, when was the last Bee and Puppycat episode? Over a year ago?
Something like that.
And people, like, paid money in Kickstarter for these things. It's like, all right. But now this seems to be, at least, as set in stone as they can possibly be. There's going to be a full season of Bee and Puppycat episodes that are made. They're coming.
The episodes are going to, there's important differences, like changes. The episodes are going to be half-hour, full-length episodes now.
Yeah, but they're going to, it's still like the same creative team behind the story and stuff like that.
Yep, Natasha is actually, the showrunner, Natasha Allegri, is actually
Rim's favorite crazy person.
Yeah, we have a lot, we came to a shared understanding that we like a lot of the same things.
But
if you think I like weird internet shit, well,
the actual
you've got another think coming.
The work and the animation of the show is going to be done by
OLM, who does Pokemon.
Oh, the studio that animates Pokemon?
Yeah, looks like it.
So, I mean, if they can animate all those episodes of Pokemon reliably, I'm sure they can animate episodes of Bee and Puppycat reliably if they get paid, which I assume they're going to be paid, so...
Yep, so...
I wonder how much it costs. Like, how much do we have to save to make them animate what we want?
I don't know, but what's interesting is, so the creative
teams... Like, how much would it cost to get them to animate one 30-minute episode of Geek Nights the Anime?
But apparently the creative team is actually going to be living in Tokyo to work on the production of this season together with them.
That's interesting.
The only bad news here is I'm going to read 2 sentences from the article that concerns
You're going to be
me.
waiting a long time between now and episode 1. They should have just kept their mouth shut until they had it already.
No, I could live with that. I think there's a trailer or something, but here's the problem.
There is a trailer. I watched it.
The series will be available through Crunchyroll.
Sounds good.
Parent company Elation's Verve streaming platform.
Okay, so it's going to be in.
It's not going to be on Crunchyroll.
So it's in the same place that's hard to watch as all their other stuff.
It's going to be the place that I don't go to.
I've only seen like 2 episodes of Bravest Warriors and haven't seen the rest.
Yep.
Because no, I think I left off where the horse went in the other dimension or something. And then
I think I saw it all.
The point is, there was more stuff after that I'm pretty sure I haven't seen because it's on some weird website. Probably this one you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, the ways I watch shows today are Crunchyroll, Netflix. Like, I just have those subscriptions. Amazon Prime, I just have that. That's how, like, I watch a lot of anime on Amazon because it's just there. Shows like Venture Brothers, like the other kinds of animation I like, I just buy them on Amazon.
How much does that cost?
I don't know, like $20 a season.
So how many seasons of, say, like, of that show are there?
Like 7?
So he was paying $140 to watch
For
this-
7? I used to pay $140 for one fucking season of anime. And also, more to the point, I pirated the first 6 seasons of Venture Brothers, so I felt like I can give him the $20.
That sounds like a better plan.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like, I'm paying for the shows that I'm continuing to watch, but if I could watch them on a platform that I actually used other than Amazon, I would.
Yeah.
And I wish shows like this would just be on YouTube or be on Crunchyroll. I do not want there to be a lot of streaming platforms.
Right.
I want there to be like 4.
I think that they made this deal with this other platform because they weren't making enough money on the YouTubes. But it's like, guys,
That is a problem.
just
They
go
can't
on
make money on
YouTube, take the pittance of YouTube money, and then sell the merch. Look how much the We Love Fine's got all those like cat bugs and Puppycat plushies and shit. And you know what? I can't imagine that sales of those are going up because when I see that booth at cons, it has less of those things at it than it used to. Why? Because you're not making a bunch of fans, and you're not getting fans because no one can see your shit. You're better off making an army of fans and then making money later than you are trying to make money off the fans you got. See less in comic books.
So speaking of the monetization models of anime, I want to... There's 2 issues around something that has been creeping into my Twitter timeline called Otaku Coin. Luckily, most of the people who run into Otaku Coin run into it in the context of someone else saying it's a scam and them saying, wait, what's this thing? But for those of you who are unaware,
why are you even talking about this? You're making people aware of this when we should really just more you talk about it, the more you inflate it. You should just not mention it so that it goes away.
You say that a lot, but there is no evidence that is true in media.
There is very true.
In fact, there's more evidence that positive coverage from biased outlets coupled with lack of negative coverage from other people not talking about something is way more dangerous, and that negative attention generally does not increase the scope of adoption.
Yeah, because look, you basically have people, even if there's one person saying, oh my god, Otaku Coins, oh my god, if everyone else just shuts up, Otaku Coin will be a small thing. Less people even know it exists.
See, you say
and
that,
therefore
but there's really
it will
no
be
evidence
a small
to back
potato.
that up. The evidence says the opposite.
By everyone continuing to even mention its name, spread its name and everyone knows what the fuck it is, right? That's not good.
Well, aside from the lack of evidence to back anything you just said, the deal with Otaku Coin is that, in my personal opinion, it's just a scam. It's
anything coin is a scam. We know this already.
We know this. A lot of other people don't.
How do you not? Don't go do any bullshit with fucking coins.
Scott, dude, the SEC made a website that was a fake coin that was like obviously like the fakest shit. And if you click to try to buy any, it takes you to another SEC page that is like, yo, you just got tricked. Let me tell you how these things are scams.
Yeah, they should have. This is because people spread all this, kept talking about Bitcoins. People just shut up and ignored the Bitcoin.
No,
this wouldn't have happened.
If people who are critical of something just shut up, then you've ceded all ground to the grifters.
You shouldn't no, it's not that you should shut up completely, is you should not mention the name of the evil thing. You should be like, don't do any coin bullshit. But when you have all these, news articles like Bitcoin actually saying the name of the thing, it's like fucking Beetlejuice, right? And suddenly, like, the Google traffic on the thing goes up, and then all the people on Facebook will start, suddenly
all right,
has
if you believe that, Scott.
And that has a carry-on effect where all the marketers will try to get on top of it so that there's, and everything, and people start writing articles about it because it's a big term, right? Don't say the word, and then it won't become a big deal.
Okay, again, aside from the fact that there's zero evidence to back up all your baseless assertions, the deal with Otaku Coin is that the scam here is that they want to get nerds to use these coins to choose, like, which anime get funded. Like, it's supposed to be this democratization of anime production, that the coin is the currency to tell the anime industry what shows should be invested in or get sequels or be popular.
How do you get the coin?
So that's the part I'm not going to get into because it's all just a fucking scam.
You just buy them with real money?
I don't even know.
Why don't you know? What you could do is you could just say, hey, here's a website. Here's a bunch of animes listed. Donate real money to the ones you want made. Why do you need these coins as an intermediary? What effect do they have? None?
Well, wait, see, donating money to corporations nakedly already runs into weird tax issues.
So you're basically just using a coin to avoid taxes.
No, it's way worse than that. The real
Worse
issue
than that.
So the real issue here, the fundamental, the core premise, coins aside, is a problem. And this is increasingly becoming a problem in all fandoms. Like the Star Wars fandom is total horseshit now. We're going to talk about some horseshit anime in a second. But so the problem is that fans of anime and fans of movies and fans of things these days feel like because they're a fan of something that they should have some agency and ownership around the production of the thing they're a fan of. And that's utterly wrong. And that is a big part of why there's such a horrible, toxic community around pretty much every fandom these days.
Well, that's because, you know, part of it is just because nowadays the tools of production are democratized, where anyone can make stuff, right? So in a world where anyone can make stuff, right, even though you don't have the resources to make, you know, something real. I mean, you guys, you could theoretically, if you spent all fucking day sitting at your computer, learning everything and working crazy hard and somehow eating only ramen or whatever, you could eventually make a real legit movie, but good luck.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's that fans will, like, they'll get invested in, like, they think a character should be treated a certain way.
No, but I'm saying, like, because you can create stuff, right? And by creating stuff and usually creating fan works, utilizing other people's stuff, right? You're not just, even the people who are pure consumers are no longer just pure consumers. You're writing your fan fictions of Harry Potter. You feel like you're part of the Harry Potter deal, and you can't make your fan fictions contradict the canon. So if the canon is messed up and it doesn't go with your fan fictions anymore, now you're mad and such, right? So it's like, you know, if we're all working, you know, instead of having the original creators used to have this status of, I write everything and you consume and you don't make anything. All you do is consume. Whereas now they've been demoted to more of a, you know, leader among the partners who create in the same world, even though they didn't say that. People just do it anyway. They just do it because you can't stop them, right? Everyone's got a copy of Adobe Premiere and Photoshop and a word processor.
But also creators,
they can join in and you can't stop them.
Or the individual people involved in production are now more accessible to randos. Like, they might have a Twitter. Like, you look in the credits and look up someone's name and Google them and find their Facebook and start harassing them.
Yeah, and
because
also,
your headcanon didn't match up.
Well, and also in the olden days, right, if I read a book and the book doesn't jive with you, first of all, even if you complain, no one can fucking hear you because you don't have the internet to complain on. Right, but two, that doesn't really disrupt your day, right? It's like
someone in the chat was like, we went from the author is dead to we killed the author.
It doesn't really mess with your day, right? Whereas consider, say, a video game, especially, right? If you're playing a video game, that video game is like, you know, especially an online video game, and you're in the community of that game, you're playing it maybe even competitively, you're heavily involved. If they change the rules of the game, you know, the authors, the people who run the game, if League of Legends adds a character, removes a character, changes a rule, makes a patch, someone nerfs a card in a card game, right? That actually affects your day because you're so involved in it, right? Which is different from back in the day where if someone changed something, you know, the creator changes something, it affects your life none.
So my take on Otaku Coin is that it's trying to combine the ridiculous buzz around cryptocurrencies, which are mostly scams, in my opinion, with
entirely
the
scams.
Fan desire to control the industry that makes the things they watch. And they're basically feeding into two very powerful forces among people who live in basements and generally don't have many prospects in life. So that if they have no control over their lives and they're just involuntarily in their basement being sad watching hentai or whatever, they can take their special magic cryptocurrency and use that to get the anime titties they want produced.
Right, what's going to happen if someone spends a zillion Otaku coins to get a specific anime titty produced, and then that anime titty is not produced?
Yeah, or what if it's produced, but it's the wrong anime titty?
It's 3 titties, like Total Recall. What are they going to do then?
So do not engage with Otaku Coin. If you know anyone
Don't
who does,
engage with any coin ever.
But
except for like actual real money from
not just because
wherever
it's
you
a
live.
coin, but because it feeds into this toxic idea that people who are fans of things gain some sort of inherent ownership in the things of which they're fans.
Right? If anyone believes in coin, right, tell them, all right, You believe in coins. You think they have value? All right, I just made Scott Coin. You work 8 hours a day. It's your full-time job. I'll pay you in Scott Coin.
Why don't we make Scott Coin?
I mean, I can make it right now, but
yeah, we could issue it to the stream and the Patreon.
Sure. Everyone, you get 1 billion Scott Coins. They're worth nothing.
I'm saying we only issue like 6 of them.
Okay, why?
Just 6.
Why?
I don't know. See what happens. All right. But anyway, things of the day. So I found this really cute comic, and I think you've probably seen it around. People retweet it occasionally.
I hadn't until you tweeted it.
Yeah, it's I've seen some of these comics before, but now I see where it came from. It's just poorly drawn lines.
They seem not so poorly drawn.
They're better drawn than anything I could ever draw.
That's for sure.
But I don't know. This is my type of very simple humor. It's like Perry Bible Fellowship adjacent. Is how I describe this type of humor.
Humor adjacent?
Yeah. It's really... All right, just be a crab. Don't fuck this up. I really like this comic, and I hope you do too. So what do you got?
Oh, so this thing happened like a little while ago. It's not the newest news, but it's actually like continuing to snowball a bit. It didn't just stop when it hit its end. So late last year, I think some girl somewhere, she made this Twitter account called like Weezer Africa, and she basically just wanted Weezer, the rock band, to cover the song Africa by Toto. You know the song. Playing down in Africa. That song, right? So, which is a meme-ish song.
Well, the song is
these days.
The song's really like on the upswing in terms of being used in memes, and it's been stuck in my head for like a year now for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's a big song in meme land.
To this day, no one seems to agree
along with like Ocean Man, and a couple other, and Sandstorm. You know, right? Anyway, but this person really, really, really wanted Weezer to cover the song, and started a Twitter account dedicated.
I really want Weezer to cover this song.
Dedicated solely to this purpose. And then they started cleverly tweeting. They made really clever tweets trying to encourage Weezer to cover the song. And then they got followers, and then they got like somehow people discovered this Twitter account that was dedicated to one purpose and one purpose only. And like, you know, radio stations, I think some morning shows talked about it, or it was written up in some, you know, local schmo papers, and, you know, it started to get attention, right? And then over time, it took like a few months, right? Eventually, like, it actually got noticed, and Weezer posted a cover on Spotify of a different song by Toto that was not Africa.
That is A+, that response.
And then they actually did eventually cover Africa.
Looks like Weezer finally blessed the rains.
Yes, exactly.
Africa.
And now they're going even further. They're like performing it somewhere with the guy from Toto or
on
whatever.
Jimmy Kimmel, apparently.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
Right. It's like getting bigger and bigger all the time. So I didn't find out about it until like maybe a week before they actually did the cover. And like I sort of put it out of my mind, and it didn't become a thing of today. And then it happened, and I saw that news, and then I forgot about it. But the fact that it's still going, and like I can't believe it's snowballing. It seems like the kind of thing that was like, they covered it, the end. No, it's not the end. It's going to keep going. What other song will they cover next?
I feel like
who else will attempt to make a Twitter account with one small dedicated purpose and fail because this is the only person who can ever do it and have it be a thing?
It'll hit the peak when Rick Astley...
Maybe in like 10 years, someone else can try this again when everyone's forgotten about this and try to make someone do something with a one Twitter account or whatever it is in 10 years.
The two possible peaks for this are either Rick Astley covers Africa, or there is a world tour concert of a ton of famous acts, and all they do is each cover Africa. We
should have Toto cover Weezer.
Ooh.
Darude cover everything, and then Darude covers everyone else, and then everyone else does a Sandstorm.
Is Toto even like still? I guess they're still around.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know what bands are alive or dead. Or
if you live in New York City, meta moment.
All right, so into the meta moment.
All right, so this Saturday, if you live in New York City and you can get on the 7 train and go to Queens, on Saturday night, there is a free concert, $0. You don't even need a fucking ticket. You just walk your ass right up. And the concert is, I can't believe they're still alive, which is why I just thought of it, performers of such great hits as Celebrate, Jungle Boogie.
What, really?
Cool and the Gang is for free concert in Flushing Corona Park this Saturday night.
Maybe we should go.
I was gonna go, bike over.
I might go. All right. Yeah. In the rest of the About a Moment, we will see you hopefully at all the PAXs that are coming up. But right now it's summer. Just chill time. Try to make some YouTube videos. Be warned, we're only really making YouTube videos when it rains. So if you really want like a lot of Utena episodes to come out in a hurry, you got to hope that it rains like every goddamn weekend. But we are continuing the Utena series. Geek Nights presents Utena. We did put an episode out. I'm already doing pre-production for episode 17, which is an actual non-Nanami, like, good duel episode. And otherwise, follow our YouTube stuff and join the Geek Nights Forum. There's been a slight uptick in forum activity recently as a few people, when I say a few, like 2 people, but
oh, Honest Rim appeared. What?
Have both expressed that they're using, because the Geek Nights Forum, it used to be way bigger and people kind of scattered to the winds.
It goes up and down and up and down. Usually, like, what'll happen is like a listener will come and hang out for a while when they make an account and then go away.
Yeah, but based on the stats, you're all fucking lurking in there.
There's a shit ton of lurkers because I can see you. And I can see your numbers at least, how many of you there are.
There's a lot of you.
But there are people who you have to get into the point where you make a habit of keeping it open in a tab and like constantly reloading it like once a day. And once you get to that point, that's when and a lot of people have that habit, but they never post because they're lurkers. But then there's other people who have that same habit and also aren't afraid to type.
Yep.
And we need more of those people because that's like 10% of the people.
One of my favorite things is when someone says something controversial or that could clearly cause an argument, and you see that little icon that shows like 8 people all simultaneously typing.
It shows you when someone is typing.
Yeah, I love
which is
seeing
great
that.
because a lot of times I'll write a long post and then delete it. And not post it, and someone knew that I was typing something.
Yep, and they were waiting for it.
And I never got posted. Or I come back later and I write it again. I have to think about it some more.
But the forum's getting this slight uptick in activity, and the sentiment seems to be that other places people had gone to for their like fandom-specific talk have gotten increasingly toxic for all the same reasons we just talked about with Otaku Coin.
Well, I think this is a general effect and also a summer effect. Is that people who have
kids are out of school.
Well, it's like people kids are at school. People in the summer are going out and doing stuff and not sitting home posting online, right? And just in general, people who are good people have better shit to do than posting in online communities, tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming. None of these things are like necessities in life. You could just never do any of those things.
I'd argue.
Most people never do any of those things, and the benefit of doing those things is actually not that great.
Well,
I just do it because I like doing it.
Yeah, it's the same as, the other thing that Geek Nights used to complain about a lot, and we do less now that we live in the city where these don't exist. Homeowners associations. The people who run homeowners associations tend to be the worst people with the least to do.
Right, so the people who post online are the worst people with the least to do, and then the people who just really enjoy doing it, like us.
But the fact,
of course, we're not the best people.
But the fact that the Geek Nights Forum has a higher barrier to entry than most other online communities.
Right, well, the reason is,
because if you're dumb, you get run out of town on the horse you rode in on.
Right,
right
there's
away.
obvious reasons. Number one, to become a member, you have to be accepted, right? You put in an application and you write down a reason for joining, and a lot of people, I think, may have been valid joiners, but their reason for joining wasn't like some people have written stuff like, want to talk about video games, and that was probably a real person. I rejected that. I'm just like, first of all, I can't guarantee you're a real person.
Yep.
And second of all, that's not, you need to prove to me that like you're a Geek Nights listener who's actually interested in joining the community.
Or at least a human being.
Right. Somebody, someone wrote something as simple as like, I want to talk to other Geek Nights listeners. That's enough.
Yeah.
I can tell that this is a real human being who wrote a complete sentence.
The real way to get in,
just
just tell us you want to join the Ivory Tower.
Right. Or, something like that where I can tell,
But we've maintained a very high, the community, the activity ebbs and flows, but the community is pretty high bar. Like, you cannot get away with being a shithead in here. you get run out of town pretty quick, and you get run out of town by your own shame. Very few people have ever been banned from this forum.
Yeah, no. It's usually just people who are the bad kind of person. It's not a comfortable place for them.
Yeah, it's
the same way that like land is an uncomfortable place for a fish.
Yeah, if you need toxic misogyny to breathe, you're gonna have a lot of trouble breathing in the Geek Nights forum. So let's talk about Umamusume.
All right, so we saw this show first on when we did our judging anime by its cover, which
and
we're
we
gonna
judged
do.
it.
We're gonna do it again soon.
Yep. Now we've watched some of it.
I watched 1 or 2 episodes. I don't remember.
I watched 1.5 episodes. I saw all I need to see.
Right. So what the show is basically what I thought it was going to be was like a sports anime where the characters happen to be girls, but they're horse girls, not like centaurs, but they're like cat girls, but they have horse ears and horse tails.
Now, already I feel like that was a lost opportunity. I was actually kind of disappointed that they were just girls with horse ears.
Anyway, and they participate in horse races like Kentucky Derby, only Japan, right?
Yep.
Whatever their horse racing equivalent is. And they go to school for horse racing and that sort of thing. So I thought it was going to be like a sports anime,
like I really
like Yo Paddle or Haikyuu.
I felt it was going to I really felt it was going to follow the Battle Athletes template.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a sports anime only. It just happened to be, the characters happened to be these, horse girls, and I thought we would learn about horse racing and taking care of horses, but that characters happened to be this way to appeal to otakus, right?
Yep.
And I watched it, and I was 50% correct. I'd say at least 50% correct. The thing I did not count on was that
the reveal in the second half of the first episode
is that the show, like, there's some perversion going on, which totally saw that coming.
Well, yeah, we'll get back to that.
That's obvious. That's obvious.
It's not the kind of perversion I expected, and it's arguably way worse. Than what I expected.
The thing I did not expect is that it would also be an idol show. Dad did not know that at all. But apparently, the deal is that if you win a horse race, then that horse girl gets to go on stage and perform at their idol song or whatever. Right?
Which already lends the show to
even the really quiet horse who's the fastest girl ends up going on stage and singing like without any cowardice at all.
So on one hand, you can make this like meta-narrative argument that the show is about the dehumanization of the idol, like the process of creating idols in modern pop music production.
Right, they compete and fight with each other in order for the chance to sing on stage.
They're commoditized. The reward they're given is just being more productive for the company that groomed them. Like, you can make this whole argument, but
no, it's just for otaku fan service.
Yeah, this show is so people who want to see cute horse girls interacting in a semi-moe, semi-sports, like half moe.
There's one
fighting.
horse girl for every different possible personality. So there's going to be your favorite one.
It's the harem show where there's no self-insert character. It's just the harem interacting with itself.
Right. The plot is basically like the school has the elite horse racing team, and then there's the joke horse racing team, and of course the joke one is going to eventually become the super one.
Yeah.
And the joke team is basically 2 joke girls, the main character, and the best horse racing girl who's like the champion who just quit the good team for some reason. And when the new girl is, oh my god, she came from the what's it called, the sticks, and she took the train into the city for Tokyo for the first time, just like every other anime
and
ever.
She doesn't know how to use the subway.
She's the transfer student, and oh my god, now she's moved to the big city. She's a horse from the country, right? Obvious main character. But the main what's it called? Hey, whatever.
What, protagonist?
No, the super fast horse girl.
Oh yeah,
right?
the one who's like the #1 most popular horse girl.
Yeah, she's like all super quiet.
This one,
right? And there's like a mystery of why she
Silent Suzuka.
Right? Why did she quit the super team to come to the joke team?
There's probably a plot there. I'm not going to watch much more of this.
No, but when the main character comes to the city for the first time, she randomly encounters some pervy dude. Right?
So this is the part that bothers me. The show,
then she kicks him in the face like a horse, and he doesn't die, though.
Yeah, it looked like he did at first.
Oh, she can run super fast because she's a horse, but she looks like a girl except for the tails and ear.
Well, so we got to talk a little bit about the conceit of the show, because the conceit of the show is our real-life universe exists, and the souls of horses from our universe get transferred randomly, as far as we can tell, into pregnant women in this other mirror universe that is the same as our universe, except all horses are just horse girls.
I thought that it was their mom fucked a horse.
Yeah, didn't you watch the intro explains this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, souls of horses end up from our world, end up in this world. Like, that's it. They just get right past that.
Oh, also, all the horse characters have names that are similar to the kinds of names that racehorses have.
From what I saw, most
the
of them
real
are
world.
actual names of racehorses from real.
Like, what's her name? Like Special Week?
Yeah, they're all real horses, which means I hope that Bofadi's Nuts is going to show up and be the real main character in like season 4.
Bofadi's Nuts should definitely. If Bofadi's Nuts appears in Umamusume, let me know, and I will start watching again.
Now, it does a lot of cute things, right? Like when the girls use a phone, they like hold the earpiece up to their real ear and then they like bring it down to talk. Like it solved the problem of why is that cat girl holding a cell phone next to the side of her head instead of her ear? But what bothers me, and the main reason I'm not going to watch the rest of the show at all, other than the fact that it's kind of just dumb, is that it wasn't perverted in the ways I expected. It wasn't just like that low-key fan service you get from these high.
I think there is some
value.
Horses with big boobs or sexy legs or whatever.
I kind of expected that to be the level of like creepy fan service, but it wasn't. The creepy part was that we're introduced to this character who's an important recurring character who straight up assaults the main character in episode 1, like multiple times, and that is already normalized in the show as, well, yeah, it's a horse girl. You gotta like check out her whatever.
Yeah, you gotta grope her legs.
Yeah,
to see how strong she is, and then
that
person is like the coach of the crappy team, and somehow is obviously some sort of genius who's gonna help them all win.
Yeah,
with his strategies.
That character should not still be in the show.
And suddenly but they totally trust him, even though he just groped them.
Yeah, multiple times in the first episode. Like, the narrative around that character.
And they don't resolve it in any way. It's just like, well, we trust him now, I guess. He's our coach. He's going to help us win.
If that scene in the first episode had instead been, he died when he was kicked and we never hear of that again, that would have been fine. But the fact that he is an important character that has a relationship with all these girls, that alone is actually a reason to just not watch the show.
That's way creepy.
Like, I'm not going to watch any more of the show. I watched enough to be able to review it. It's lighthearted, generic anime, high production value. Look at all these girls that are acting in a school.
There's also tons of like music because they sing whenever someone wins a race or whatever.
It's really well animated. Like, everything about it's beautiful.
It's really colorful because it's, you know.
I do appreciate, like, it is really, really colorful, and there's a lot of characters, and it's pretty typical anime, but I can't say that I recommend it to anyone to actually watch.
If you're an otaku who likes idols and shit and doesn't mind all these girls getting groped by this dude and only being mad once.
Yep. The fact that they just let that go and don't bring it up again, not cool.
Then you can watch this show. If you're the kind of otaku who will buy a body pillow unironically and have it in your bed, then the show is for you.
Or I guess if you're on the other side of the coin, you can just watch Monster Musume and get like an actual centaur.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go horse anyway, why not go all the way? Just have like a giant centaur.
If they were centaurs, the show would be better because
yeah. Well, then when she kicked that dude, he would have actually died, and that would have been the end of that stupid arc.
If a horse kicks you, you will probably die.
Yeah.
They do. I think that there is one nice scene where it's like she's at the train station and she's like she got off this train too early or late, like a station away from where she's supposed to go.
Oh yeah, and she's just like, no, I'll just run.
And she just runs to the next station faster than all the cars because she's a horse.
That's one thing I do appreciate, though. The show is very married to its core conceits and kind of like My Little Pony actually did this too. Very small details that relate to those things, like they are horses, they run, whatever, are appropriate and always right. Like the consistency of the treatment of those little world details is extreme, to the point that the kanji for the word horse in the show is basically the real kanji for the word horse, except it removed like 2 of the legs. Like little details like that I really appreciate when a show has this almost slavish consistency on these really dumb minor points. But otherwise, I don't think the show is actually worth watching, and I don't think anyone should really bother watching it.
Yeah, if you want to watch a sports show, you can watch Yo Pedal, where the last episode that I saw, basically they were 50 minutes from the finish line of the second day of a 3-day race, and at the end of the episode, they had still not crossed the finish line, but they had done flashbacks of the 3 characters who could possibly cross that finish line first.
Yeah. I mean, Initial D, for all I love it, it's a bunch of non-race episodes and then an episode that's getting ready for the race.
Well, the problem in Initial D, you're racing a bunch of different people in separate races. In Yo Pedal, it's pretty much there's all these other races, but they only care about this inter-high race where every high school in Japan races against each other. They don't care about any other race. So it's pretty much there'll be a few episodes, like half a season of characters developing and setting up, and then the rest of the show for another season and a half is just the race. And then they do it again 3 times because high school is 3 years.
Yep. So, yeah. Easy anime review.
Mm-hmm.
And we're done. Guess I should do the Patreon thing.